There we go. Okay. Okay. So coach want to know, uh, how do you um, stop the fly? Basically it's jet sweep, kind of a jet sweep, right? So one thing, a part of my coaching philosophy that I really focus on doing, guys, is I want to keep everything in, right? I want to keep everything in. Now, something that I don't talk about enough when it comes down to running the 4-4 Reaper defense is that I use my corners, right? I use my corners here pretty much like linebackers as well, because we know that most youth football teams are going to run the ball. Let me know in the comments what percentage of the time. We know most youth football teams are going to run the ball blank to blank many times. Let me know in the comments. Y'all know. Y'all already know. Let me know. Let me know. Y'all let me know how many times, how often percentage wise are youth football teams going to run that football? Coach G got it. Coach G got it. The answer is eight. Okay. So the answer is really 80 to 100%. Let me explain. So for teams who are, let's say, 8U and down, they're going to run the ball 90 to 100% of the time. 8U and down, they're running it 90 to 100% of the time. 8U and up, they're going to run the ball 80 to 85% of the time. Okay. Now, in some leagues, they will pass the ball, 70-30. You get some of these more competitive leagues where, they want to be just like an NFL team. In the NFL, they pass the ball 60% of the time, run the ball 40% of the time. A lot of these youth football teams try to do that. I would argue on the youth football level, that's not as sustainable at this point, to where you pass the ball 60% of the time and run the ball 40% of the time. You can emulate that, sure, but for most youth football teams, for the vast majority, they're going to run that ball 80 to 85% of the time, 8U and up. And then 8U and down is going to be more like 90 to 100% of the time. So it's going to be to your advantage to play the numbers, play the data, right? That's what I would do. So, if you got a team that's running some kind of fly, I don't know. Let's see here. Let's just draw. Yeah, okay. As a matter of fact, we had a play similar to this where, let's see, we actually had a quads play, right, guys? Where I had guys spread it out. I'm just showing y'all some stuff that I would do. Um, we had some funky stuff like this, right? Some kind of quads look, right? More like this. We had quads look. Make sure, and if y'all want to steal this, feel free to steal it. So we had a quads look, and we had this guy back, right? We had this guy back, and we had a play where we get both. He get like a jet sweep, right? And then we had one where you get the rocket, right? So the teams that were really successful against us in running this is that they played wide, okay, and they forced everything to the inside, okay. So I say the same thing to you guys, and this is how I play it as well. Is that if these teams they like to run to the outside, I'm getting my players wide. We're almost looking like a 6-2 defense, okay. We're almost looking like a 6-2 defense. Our guys are playing wide, get the fly. We're forcing. We want to create clutter with these guys. Our linebackers, we wouldn't play. We wouldn't have these guys do A gap blitzes. Okay, if we see these flies, okay, we'll have our guys spine and scraping over. Okay, we're starting to flow and we're starting to scrape. That's what we do. Okay, And so we want to create, a lot of clutter to the outside. This is what our defensive ends and our corners, they're not our DNs, our outside linebackers and our corners, their responsibility. We want to force this guy back. When he comes back, we want to force him into our interior linebackers, into our DNs, into our defensive tackles. All right. So that's what, that's what I like to do. I like to play wide anyway. I like to play to stop the run to the outside first, right? And I like to force players back to the inside anyway. So when we play a lot of fly sweep or jet sweep teams that like to do that kind of stuff, we see that a lot with teams that like to run the double wing. You know what I'm saying? Um, we just play it the same way. We play into you got to play discipline. You got to take good angles, and you cannot get caught up with taking bad angles. You can't be running, and this is something we big on that practice. You can't be running, getting sucked on the inside. I seen Bama do that against Vanderbilt 2 weeks ago. I'm like, man, it drives me crazy to see when you got players taking bad angles. You take bad angles, you screwed. That's just the truth. All right. Make sure I get to y'all questions too, guys. Y'all bear with me. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss y'all questions. I know I can get into teacher mode, y'all, and I'm gone. Shout out to you, Hemi. Shout out to you. He said those playbooks are incredible. Let's get it. Get the likes, fellas. Appreciate you, brother.